Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discover College Soccer. Today, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Coach Mike from St. Lawrence University in Northern New York. Welcome, Coach.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Look forward to it.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Excited to chat. You guys are getting ready to kick off your season here. Hopefully, you got the boys in and are ready, ripping and ready to go. Or when do you guys start?
Yeah, we start this Friday coming up. We're at Geneseo near Rochester, and then on the Sunday we play Cortland State, who are a powerhouse in our region. But yeah, no, it's been good. Preseason's been great. Of course, they're all come in flying and ready to go, which I've been really happy with. And being as close to Canada as we are, we've played three Canadian teams in the preseason, and just recently Queen's University, which is the level in Canada right now, I'd say is mid-level D1. Now with the Canadian Premier League, and they're able to give athletic scholarships now to any Olympic sport. So it's great for us to go up, and we got a nice result there. So it's a great game for us. So yeah, we've been right at it and can't wait to get after the real thing.
Awesome. Well, you're starting a new season, so I'm gonna I guess focus more on this class of 24, right? The kids that you just brought in. Um, when did you have that class kind of locked and loaded, or when do you expect maybe you hope to lock and load this class of 25? What's your kind of recruiting timeline as a D3?
Yeah, for me, we've a lot of our top people are ones that have had some Division 1 interest in things as well. So we always have a spot or two where we wait to keep open
Yeah.
if it doesn't work out for them. And this class pretty much was locked in by, I would say, last February, when it was all said and done, Matt, by the time we were finished. And this one for 2025, we're right after right now. I'm hoping again it'll probably again come down to that around February, 1st of March, because we do go the long road with some people. But usually we get a lot of early decision and things like that. People that we've been, on for about 2 years and trying to stay with. So, we're very much in the thick of it with people right now. A good group that we have to fill some of the needs that we have as a team. And again, it'll all come down to, academic merit money and all the things that they get as good students, and to be competitive that way. And we'll see, but we feel good. It's looking good so far. And but again, it probably won't close completely until February, I would think.
Well, that brings up another question I have then. So obviously with D3, the academic scholarship component, is a fairly large deal for
Right.
the recruits and figuring all that out. So if I apply in what October 1 is generally when applications
Yeah,
start, or
no,
right? Or
yeah, right around that point, and then early decision. The first 2 week period you could go would be November 1st.
okay. So then if you're doing that, or even if you're not early decisions, like when are you finding out about the academic money component, and how has FAFSA with their delays kind of changed the
Yeah,
decision timing for your players?
I mean, and that's a good topic to talk about because it has affected that. For us, we can do early reads and financial reads as well, which are very, very close to what they're going to get. Like in that, it wouldn't make much of a difference, and usually they're on the very conservative side and they end up getting a little bit more. So it gives them a really good picture because you're dealing with schools that academically say, okay, you need to have them locked and loaded in here, committing to us by September. That's not us, but it's others who we're competing with. So those early reads and the good job that they do with it really does give a good indicator, so they can stay with us longer in that process. But the FAFSA, which you brought up, really interesting. I mean, even for kids, every year you apply for it if you're, and players that we had here last year's freshmen, not getting their packages till about 2, 3 weeks ago. knowing what I'm going to get for them. Is this going to come through? And it would, but it still would leave you a little unsettled, of course, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so the whole FAFSA thing did make it for some of our people. A lot of them that we had were merit money people, and I would say three-quarters of the group were merit money people, and then a quarter would be if FAFSA was a factor for them. So we waited the long haul like everybody else, and the fiasco that it turned out to be. Apparently, if they get it going properly, it's only 20 questions instead of 150. But hopefully the bugs are out of the system. I'm not too sure though after this summer, so
Yeah.
we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to your recruiting, like where do you like to go to see players? What are some of the tournaments that are kind of on your must-hit list? What does that look like?
Yeah, the ECNL has been very big for us as far as tournaments and showcases goes. We'll go across the country. The country's open to us. We also have some very good players, student athletes that come from Europe in our group, and we have people there as well. And I'll give a plug for them, Amherst and Lafayette, PPA, their camp that they run. Wow. Sometimes ID camps can be, I think, money makers for some people, but the PPA one that they have, the quality that comes, because you got the great academics plus D1 with Lafayette and then Amherst, and it attracts quite a few people. And I got the Liberty League player rookie of the year out of there last year. Another kid that was hardly recruited by anyone, a center back who I thought a huge potential. Played every second for us last year. Got an honorable mention all league, Liberty League. I think I got about 8 players out of that, and I do all 4 sessions. I said, sign me up after the first year, and the quality and it fits the diet, the of the school, the type of school that we are, and everything. So it brings a lot of people, foreign and domestic, to 4 locations there in one spot. So that's been very successful for us, as well as the ECNL. Some of the MLS Next stuff that we'll go to as well, and then we'll hit the odd off the road kind of things that you can see, like some of the high school things. And there are some diamonds that are still out there. The New York ID camp that was at Cortland State, I do that as well. And there's been some kids that we've found. I've found a couple out of there. So but ECNL has been a big one for us. We find it's been very friendly to us, and we'll try and hit those national events that they have. Yeah.
Okay. Well, whether it's at these camps or at a ECNL showcase or wherever you're watching a player, what is it that you're looking for in a recruit, whether that's on the field attributes or off the field stuff?
Yeah, so I don't keep a very large squad. I like the chemistry to be really good in the group and the culture, and that's important. And we're at like 24, 25 field players. And I think that's really important to be able to keep everyone engaged. And I've found success with that. So, but for me, we have a certain way that we like to play. I know everybody likes to have the ball and everything. It's very much in vogue, but it's been a history here of that at St. Lawrence, going back into the 90s and things. So, when you know how you want to play and the things that you need out of sort of every position on the field, it makes it that much easier to identify what you want. So first and foremost, is it someone that's very comfortable on the ball? They're comfortable in tight spaces. They like to play. Athletically, how are they? Can they cover ground defensively? I'll look, at very some other little markers, like how are they when things go bad? How are they when the ball turns over? What's the reaction when the coach takes them off? If they score a goal, is everyone celebrating with them or not? Are they running and celebrating with their teammates? All of those little factors that you're trying to get as much information as you can about the player. And then if we like them and it's a fit, we try to get them to come to campus. But definitely that, and the markers of, are they going to fit into the culture that we have here? And you look for as many different things as you can and try to get them to campus.
Okay. Well, one of the things that has blown up recently and is looking to blow up even more with the new NCAA regulations coming down the pike would be the transfer portal. Do you guys dabble in that? Do you see any movement of kids looking to say, "Hey, I'm going to make the transition maybe from D1 or D2 to a D3 school," or not so much?
We have done, and I've only done it once, and we had two Division 1 players and a Division 3 player that came. The Division 3 player worked out the best, and they actually became an all region for us, and everything. I haven't delved into it other than that a few years ago. I just For me, and I know teams that have been very successful and have done well with building their teams around it. And, Cortland's a good one. Steve's done a really good job. And there's some legitimate reasons why kids want to leave a place. And maybe it wasn't the right fit. It's not always a red flag. But for myself, I haven't really gone into it. Just because I guess maybe I'm an old school thought. I don't know, but geez, why didn't they like it where they were and things like that? So, I haven't really gone down the road. It's something that I'm not closing the door to, especially like goalkeepers, for instance. Division 1 teams, they're going to try and stack their roster, and there's goalkeepers that don't play that are very talented. And I have a background in professional soccer with goalkeepers and things, so to attract someone from a D1, and we've had people go on from here, is another possibility that I would probably look to first, just for that reason that they are stockpiled and only usually one can play. So that would probably be an area where I would delve in first if I jump in again.
Gotcha. No, it
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense.
yeah,
Well, let's learn a little bit more about the school. I'm sure there's folks not familiar with St. Lawrence. Um,
yeah.
you've been there a few years. You're well versed. So tell us what are some of the things you find that make the school stand out? Some awesome things, maybe some things we wouldn't even know by going through the website.
Yeah, first and foremost, what's the degree going to do for me? It looks great in a nice frame on the wall, but what's it going to do for me? And I think it's at St. Lawrence, we always bounce between number 3 and number 4 in alumni engagement, and I think Notre Dame's number 1. So it's a good company that you're in. And, I say that to kids and parents, and okay, alumni, great. They enjoy themselves at St. Lawrence. But most importantly, and the school puts a big emphasis on that, is the internships and then the hiring of our graduates. And most of my players, Matt, they know 3 to 4 months before they graduate where they're going and already have a job lined up. And pretty high caliber jobs too, in finance and things like that. My goalkeeper this year is senior. He's already set for next year. He did an internship in New York City with a big finance company, and they've hired him for next year. And that's happened before here. That's not uncommon. And the school really puts that in the front porch, and it's a very, very big thing here for sure. So those kinds of opportunities. Also, and I really push this with my players, is the study abroad program that we have here is very, very good. Usually we get 4 to 5 guys in their spring semester, their junior year, that will partake in that. And it's great. I find they come back, a little more mature, worldly. Also, we try and set them up if we can. And from my background in the professional game, people in the countries that they're at, we've had guys play 17, 18 games, go over there and have fun with it. You know what I mean? Be able to play in that environment, which is great, if they get hooked up with a club team or whatever. So that's a big one that we push as well. And it's obviously a liberal arts small population of the school. We hover between around 24 and 2,000. 2,400 to 2,000. And, you're not student number XYZ 1223. The class sizes are small. Your professors know who you are and all of those things. So, if that's something, that kind of attention that you want, that's a real plus that we have, and has really been a big selling point why a lot of people have chosen it. On the soccer end, the athletic end, we've had a real history here of doing well. The facilities, we're a Division I school in hockey, men's and women, and that Division I vibe goes through the Division III here. If you look at the facilities, we have a soccer specific stadium with one of the best grass pitches in the Northeast. Compare it with anyone, built-in sprinklers. So there's no just men's and women's soccer. There's no lacrosse lines on it or American football or any of that. And the training grounds, same thing. We got 2 beautiful grass pitches dedicated to ourselves, plus a turf that we can use, indoor facility, the sport science facilities, and the strength and conditioning. So we're running a high level program that you feel, when you're coming, I am coming to something that's a higher level, and all of that. I like to think if we could run it like an under 21 team at a Premier League club, and I knew when I came back here, I was with Portland Timbers and then came here in 2015. I'd been here in the 90s and early 2000s with Bob DeRocher. That I was you're gonna have great training grounds, all the portable goals, all the things you need to feel that you're in a higher level environment. And I think that's what a lot of the players, when they come on their visit, that impresses. And then the piece we talked about before, the culture piece, most of them the next day talk about, wow, I can't believe how tight the team is together. And that takes a lot of work, and you got to be very careful about it. And, I try to give my players as much autonomy as I can, as many things to decide on, so that they have ownership of it and buy in as well. So I would think those are the main things, Matt, if I was to cross them off there.
All right, sounds good. Well, let's fast forward, where it's the end of August right now. Let's say we're in mid-October, the heart of that conference season. Walk me through what a typical week's going to be like for a player in terms of practice times, class times, meals, game cadence, all the things that they're going to deal with in a normal week.
Yeah, we're really lucky that we have 35 sports here at St. Lawrence, which is huge. And it's 48, almost half of the student body are varsity athletes. So the cooperation between academics and athletics is excellent. We don't have any classes between 4 and 7 generally, so that people can train and you're not rushing to eat and do all of those things. So the cooperation there is huge. There's minimal missed class time, Matt. There are some midweek games where we will have to go, but the cooperation, here's another example. If you have a quiz that day, the professor will give the quiz to us, and they can take that. We can proctor it, them taking it, to keep them on the same schedule. So that kind of cooperation and value that's seen, in athletics is huge. What a week will look like if it's a Saturday to Saturday deal, which is most. Sunday's the day off that they have. Monday, re-entry day, where they'll come in, not too much where you have to think, just a lot of things to get you back on the ball and back playing and doing all of those things. People that maybe didn't get as many minutes, we'll actually play with them to get them some of the things that they need to keep their fitness levels. And then depending, using the heart rate monitors and all the things that we do, if some people are still up high, they'll be on a different program to recover and try and get that. Tuesday is where we'll get into it pretty good. A lot of work. Wednesday, another day that's a little bit heavier. And then Thursday, we start to taper down a bit, maybe a bit more into the opponent and how we're going to play on that weekend. And then with Friday being, your set pieces and all your things, that very smaller session, and just things on your shape and all of that. What I would say, a constant that runs through is game pace. Everything at game pace, but the minutes change. The size of the pitches change. based on what day it is and what the demands are. But that runs through it. Everything that we do to get our fitness to develop is with the ball and how we want to play. So it's very much based around that, which is fun if you're a player, because it's around the ball and you are playing a lot. And with the way the season goes, it is a sprint, but with our strength and conditioning with people, we want to go this way and not just we're breaking down. Can we manage it? Can we go this way and keep rising with our fitness levels and strength? If I was to ask someone, Matt, like, okay, in October 7th or whatever, what did we do that day? They probably wouldn't be able to tell you. But if I were to say, how did you feel physically or mentally, in the first part of October and things, they'd be able to tell you. I felt strong. I felt, I was getting, really good with my fitness. I felt really good. Man, they could tell you how they felt, which I think is really, really important.
Okay. Excuse me. Let's talk a little bit more about the soccer side. You mentioned the size of your roster, what you're about where you're at with players, but what about the other side of the roster besides yourself? What other coaches are on staff? Maybe what other support staff help out with
Yeah.
the team? What does that look like?
Yeah. I have an assistant this year. He was an All-American goalkeeper at Oneonta. His name's Nate Hanna. And he's come in, which is great because, he's young. We have graduate assistants here, GAs, not full-time assistant coaches. They get their master's degree and work towards that. But I'll tell you what, great qualities as a young coach. But what I say to our players here is Nate has played in some games that we want to play in this year with Oneonta. He's played in big NCAA games and tournament games and things like that. So that gives you some credibility along with his ability, which is great. I have another volunteer assistant who has a big job here, actually, in the financial side of St. Lawrence. He played college soccer. His name's Eric Shinnick. And so he's sort of been a constant for me, which is kind of nice. You're always able to talk and as things come and go. So I appreciate his time. We also have an academic person who has hours here at the facility that the guys can go to if they have questions or feel they're struggling in a certain area. A lot of attention's given to you here. So that kind of staff is excellent. Really important is the sports science side. When I came from the Timbers, I was like, oh, please have someone here that's not just ankle taper, that knows the sports science side of things. And we're very, very lucky. Nikki Williams is her name. She's superb and is very big with what we do for training for the week and where the players are at. So we talk about that and how it will look. So she's an important piece to what we do, very important. And we've just added this year, and he's hit a home run. And it was been the final piece for us is a strength and conditioning coach at St. Lawrence who understands our game. And last January set up an unbelievable buy-in from our players. And I noticed a difference in the spring mat right away in strength, endurance, all of those things. So that's been a final piece that goes together, that strength and conditioning along with our sports science piece and everything, the academic piece where we get the help. All of it really fits nicely together. So I feel really lucky that way.
Awesome. Well, Coach, you've given us a lot of info. Really appreciate it. Going to leave you with one last question. As someone
Okay.
who's been in the college game for a few years, if you had one piece of advice or one nugget of information you think parents, players, families going through the college recruitment process should know, what would that be?
Yeah, you know what? I think this one, you never know who's watching, when and where. And, don't make it difficult for yourself. How you speak to referees, how you do things, really represent yourself well and do all the little things well, not just on the ball. You're on the ball a very little time, really those things like work ethic. And I know things are cliche, but they're cliche for a reason because they're true, right? So really represent yourself and you never know who's watching and where. And eyes are everywhere. Take advantage. Everywhere is an opportunity, right? I would say that. But I'd also say, too, do your homework, go see places, right? Try to get, if a coach officially wants to have you come on an official visit, those are the ones that are seriously after you and want you. And don't be too concerned if you're not getting recruited by a million people. Like I said, I found excellent players who are top players who, for one other reason, maybe they grew a lot in their junior year and they're a bit awkward and then grew into their body. Don't worry about that. Stay persistent, but also remember who is reaching out back, who's answering you, who is showing an interest, and narrow it down to that, I would say.
Awesome. Well, coach, I really appreciate it. Wish you the best of luck this season. Hopefully, if we talk in the near future, you'll be hanging a conference banner and maybe you'll I think my Catholic University Cardinals played either Cortland or Oneonta in the tournament recently. So
Yeah,
hopefully you can, maybe it'll
yeah.
be St. Lawrence this year. Let's hope.
Would love that. That'd be great. We want to, that's our goal every year, Liberty League Championship, then get in the tournament. So we've won 2 of the last 3 years and we're hoping to get back in there again.
Awesome. Well, best of luck, coach. Thanks again.
Thank you.